Hi, welcome to You, Me and Mediumship. First of all, sometimes I forget at the end, please like, please subscribe. And if you're interested in mentorship, if you'd like to pop over to the Patreon and just have a look, I'll put the link in the description so you can pop over and just take a look at what I do and how I work. And yeah, you're welcome to obviously join for free on there, or if you'd like to take part in some of the training that I do, some of the teaching that I do, then there are different options on there. So please feel free to take a look. So what did I call this video? Mediumship, the true understanding. The reason I decided to do this particular video is on the back of the students that I work with across the world, really. There's a lot of misunderstanding, I guess, as to the very basic principles of mediumship. And a lot of this is to do with, I guess, the fluff side of things that people have picked up over the years, what they've read about, courses they've been on. You know, that they kind of pick up, I wouldn't say they're bad habits, but I think it's more of a misunderstanding. And I think it's very important that before you take that first step into your journey of mediumship, that you grasp some of the actual main principles and how it works, what it is you are trying to achieve. And of course, that important question of why. Why do you want to do this particular job, if you like? Or why do you want to follow this path? Very important question. Anyway, what I want to try and cover in this particular video is the very basics. The basics of how this works, what it is you need to understand in order to be able to work with those energies of loved ones, of souls that have passed. What is it that you need to get a grasp of? The worst thing you can do as an up-and-coming medium, or somebody who's taking that first step, is to shadow another medium. Because the minute you do that, you are blocking self. You are literally just mimicking somebody else. And by doing that, you are on the road to destruction, if you like. You're making it very difficult. So, first of all, it's very important that you understand how important it is for you to work in a natural way, in the way you want to work. Obviously, there are some basic guidelines, which I'll cover later on. But what it is that you need first and utmost is to understand self and the link that understanding has with connection. So when you first start off, once you've got that understanding that it's not you necessarily connecting with spirit, there's nothing physical in making that connection happen. So no matter what you do regarding the way you sit, the way you stand, if you work with your eyes open, if you work with your eyes closed, none of those things are important as such. Obviously, there are many mediums who don't like to see other mediums working with their eyes closed, and there aren't many that do. They might shut them for a few seconds and then open them again, but it's not something that you need to put in that list at this moment in time. Because naturally, as you start to work as a medium, that space you go to, where you work, Okay, you will be there whether your eyes are open or closed. It'll make no difference whatsoever. You will be in that space. You will be somewhere else. You will be connecting with spirit through the method of merging, if you like, the merging of two energies. And when I say two energies, it's your spirit, your soul, your energy, your life source that is making that connection. It's got nothing to do with how tall you are, how small you are. It makes no difference physically whether you are partially sighted, deaf. It makes absolutely no difference. There is nothing physical in communication with spirit. So, where do we start? We spend time sitting for self, for spirit, in the power. We spend maybe months, years doing that. So that's our starting point. We do not need to be guided in any form of meditation. The reason I say that is because when we are guided, we are listening, we are mindful of that guidance. We do not want mind in the way. Guided meditation is great for relaxation, for that peacefulness of relaxation and just grounding yourself, I guess. But with mediumship, we are not going within, we are not doing that. We are not doing what that meditation is trying to teach us. We are expanding self. As mediums, we need to be able to create that expansion. And we do that in a natural way. We do not have to imagine anything. That's the last thing you need. Do not imagine anything. By imagining things, you are in touch with mind, obviously. So if you're imagining that beach, that woodland, that stream, that river, whatever, you are working through mind, and you do not want to go there because it will hinder you. It will block you. What you need to be doing is expanding self. Easier said than done. It's all right for me to sit here saying that, but how do we actually go through that initial process? The first thing that you need to do obviously will be to relax and be still and just be. Focusing on breath is good for getting you to that relaxation point. Just initially, and as you still self, you are closer to the truth than what you have ever been. You are in that space of self. There's no outside influence. You are away somewhere else in that essence of truth, in the essence of self. And the more we do this, the more natural it becomes. Do not sit in the power expecting to communicate with spirit. Do not sit in the power expecting to see visions, to see faces, to see loved ones. In fact, expect nothing. Just be. Those two words are so, so important. Just be. So, forget a lot of that stuff that's been preached over the years, impressed upon you. Don't label things, especially with labels that you've been given in the past. And what I mean is, don't expect to be classed as or label yourself as clairvoyant, clairaudient, clairsentient. Just for now, forget about all that. Just be and just allow. So when you're in that natural state, you are allowing self to step forward. There are no barriers of the outside world. There are no barriers of thought or emotion. There are no barriers. When there are no barriers, then you are naturally expanding. We have to call it expanding because obviously as human beings we need to label things in order to try and understand them and explain them. I don't mean you're going to sit there and glow in the dark or anything like that. That natural energy of self, that spirit of truth will naturally step forward and be. And that energy, that life source that you are allowing to be, is what spirit will work with. Because it's the natural part of who you are. It's your soul, it's your spirit, it's your energy. Once spirits sense that, once they see that light of truth from self, they can merge with it, they can impress upon it, they can put memory within that, they can put visions into that. If they want to impress as part of a message to a loved one, a memory of time they spent together, you will be there within that memory. You will become part of it. You will sense it. You will feel it. You will see it. Forget the stuff that you have been told over many years and probably many books and many courses and many things. It's important here that you work with that essence of who you are, that naturalness. It's important to remember that that is the most important tool of a medium, is that grasping of self, the understanding of self, and allowing that to expand. Because like I just said, spirit will see that, they'll work with that. That is what spirit work with. They work with that natural energy of self. You have, I guess, you have that there already to a certain degree. That's why you sense that you don't like things, or you sense a room you walk in, you get that sense of, I don't like it in here. You get that sense with people, you get that knowing. So that there's part of that is natural to you already. We just need to expand on that ability of knowing. So don't label yourself straight away as a clairvoyant, as a clairaudient, as a forget all that. There is a knowing. You could put all those clairs in a bag and tie that bag up and label that bag simply knowing. We don't need those labels. You are a natural being that has the ability of communication. So the stories over time through the teaching that I do, that I hear, are so worrying and sad. Some of the things that are being embedded within up-and-coming mediums has caused so much frustration. Many mediums label themselves as natural mediums. Means it's something they've had since birth. And that is simply They have the ability, I guess, to have held on to that truth and that knowledge and not allowed themselves to have it taken from them. They haven't allowed the experience of the world, of life itself, bury that true self and hide it away. They haven't allowed that to happen. They've managed to hang on to that true essence of self, and that expansion of it is happening through them quite naturally, and they sense so easily. We're not all that fortunate that it's been a natural thing. I was lucky enough for me to have an understanding that I basically brought with me. You are the same. You have brought this along with you. Unfortunately, life has got in the way, it's buried away deep inside of you, and all you've got to do is rekindle that knowledge, that understanding that's always been there. So by spending that short period of time, daily, weekly, whatever, sat in the essence of that, allowing that to happen naturally, will simply rekindle it. It'll become part of you again. You won't need to attune yourself to anything. You will sense the energy around you when you need to sense it, when you need to work, when you need to do that reading, that demonstration, that understanding with spirit that you have built over time with them. They will step in and they will help and work with you to give that message to that loved one. Let's talk about how that message comes across, because that's I guess one place that, or one subject that I get a lot of confusion with from the students, their understanding of how that method of communication actually works. So you've spent months, years, whatever, you've kind of regenerated the essence of self. That expansion is there. It's a natural part of who you are again. The understanding that you have obtained while sitting in the power, if you like, and I keep saying if you like, if you're new to my channel, then I will explain that I don't like that actual phrase of sitting in the power, because again, it's a label and it's something that kind of puts pictures in people's minds. Like I said earlier, you're not going to glow in the dark or anything like that. I call it sitting for spirit, sitting for self. It's the same thing. So when you're sat in the power, in that energy of self, over time, spirit learn an awful lot about you, your past, your memory, your emotion, how you allow emotion to impress upon you, your understanding of things. They learn everything, that natural side about you. So it's not all about you learning about spirit. And they will work with those emotions, those experiences, those perceptions that you have in order to get that message across. There might be a certain emotion, a certain feeling, a certain sense that you have about grandma, about grandpa, about aunt, about uncle, and they can use those sometimes to trigger who that energy is that's drawing close to you. So that sense that you have of grandmother will be triggered to tell you this is grandmother coming through. Sometimes they might not use that trigger. They may well just impress upon you as though it was said. You do not hear spirit in any physical way. You do not see spirit in any physical way. You may well think you do, and you may well have been told that you do, And you may well think that that's the way it works because of what you've read, from what you've seen. It does not work like that. Forget all that. It's so important, believe me, that you forget all those preconceptions of how this works. And hand on heart, believe me, with the students that I work with, this has made a big, big difference. Just teaching the understanding of how this works and forgetting what they've had thrown at them over the years. When spirit comes through and you get that impression of how they looked, it is simply that. It is an impression. They do not stand there in the physical. You may be lucky enough to think that you see them in that state. In truth, spirit does not appear like that. It is simply an impression that they have given you of how they looked. Ghosts are a different thing altogether. I have done a video on that, may do another one, but that is a different thing altogether. There is a vast difference between spirit and the vision of ghosts. That is completely different. If spirit came to you in their true form, their form is energy, is conscious energy of love, of light. It is not, there's nothing physical at all about spirit. Many mediums will say, yeah, I've got a queue stood behind me, they're all queuing up. You know, this isn't the butchers. This isn't where they draw a ticket and wait their turning. It is not like that. The essence of that loved one is all around a medium. The energy is all around a medium. They are not stood there in a physical sense in a queue. Forget that. You may have seen it, you may have seen it portrayed or heard it portrayed like that. And if there are mediums who obviously will argue that fact, that's fine, because that is how you perceive it, and I will not doubt that. I do not doubt that you perceive it in that way, but in truth, in essence, if spirit come to you in their true form, it would be literally a ball of energy, a ball of light. It's the same when we pass. When we pass and we meet up with mum, dad, aunt, uncle, brother, sister, whoever, we do not see them in the same way as what we saw them here. We understand, we know, we have that kind of medium's knowing, if you like. When, for argument's sake, if mum steps forward towards you, you have passed, and she comes to greet you, it is like energy, like light. You still feel the same love from her, you feel that, you sense that. And the same for her, she will sense and feel that love from you. You will know that that's mother. You do not need to see an image of her. You will simply know she is with you, she is there, she's beside you. You will know of that hug. You will feel it. You will sense that feeling of that hug. It is not a physical hug. It is not those arms coming round you. And it's the same when spirit draw close and place their spirit arms, if you like, around someone who's living. You will sense that hug, although physically it is not happening. But the sense of it happening is identical. And it is still a loving hug. So when spirit comes through to a medium, what's actually happening? You are out there. The self, the energy from self, is outside of you, is around you. Spirit will draw close to that, they will merge with that, and they will impress upon that. So, how do we know who they are? Simply through knowing, because we will sense that father figure. We will understand what that sense feels like. It's something that is within us. Or we will hear, this is father, or this is dad. But we do not hear that with the physical ears. We are sensing that sound. And when I kind of describe the words of spirit as a whisper on the wind, that's exactly what it is. It's a whisper. Okay, not a physical whisper. We just sense it that way. This is all about the emergence of energies, that conscious energy of spirit with that conscious energy of self. So that's why we sit, to allow that to happen naturally, to become part of us again. And by doing that, we naturally expand it. And there is an understanding. Like I've explained before, when we do our readings, that reading was planned well before you even knew about it. It was meant to be. Spirit do not make contact or come run a bit late or not turn up at all. They are there. That loved one, that loving energy of mum, dad, brother, sister, whoever you're doing a reading for, that loved one will be there. That's without doubt. I know that for a fact. How do I know that for a fact? Because I've spent a lot of time, even in thought, not just sitting in the power, but just asking questions, putting those questions out there to spirit, sitting, waiting for the answers, sensing the answers, feeling the answers, hearing the answers, not in a physical sense, but that whisper. It's important that you spend the same amount, or put the same amount of time into working with energy that is around you. It will help you. It will guide you. Your best teachers in the world are there already around you. You just need to allow. You just need to be. As a teacher, as someone who guides mediums, I spend an awful lot of time, I guess, defluffing, getting rid of all the hype and stuff that's been impressed upon them, if you like, and kind of going through that process of allowing your naturalness to start to work for you. It's something that's very difficult to kind of explain, but I hope you're kind of getting the gist of what it is that I'm trying to say. I guess one way of putting it is simply be you. because it's the real you, the spirit you, the soul of you that makes that connection. And if you are not aware of that, if you do not make that connection with that true self, then you will struggle. And I see that all the time. That's why we see sometimes when we go to demonstrations, we see the hit and miss scenario. Because it's so important that we allow the true self to do the work. And if somebody hasn't got that understanding of who that true self is, then yeah, we have an essence of self out there. A small part of that is out there for some, and we'll pick up snippets. That's why sometimes you think you might have heard something. You think something's just come into your head. And where'd that come from? It's because there is an essence, a small part of that is naturally there. That's why sometimes you might think you saw something. You might feel a bit uncomfortable, but you can't put your finger on why. It's because the truth of who you are is trying to tell you. And what's important is that we learn to trust that, and we work with it, and we expand that. So, I guess the most important thing, forget all the fluff. Learn about you. Allow that truth of self to come forward. Listen to it, work with it, expand it, trust it. You need to kind of take, if your mediumship isn't developing, it's not working, you're getting frustrated with it, then I can guarantee spirit are there knocking away at that door, and you're not opening it, you're not allowing your true self to listen and work with them, because you've got no idea who that true self is. One way of explaining it, which may help, is if I said to you, show me, say for argument's sake your name was, I'll take a very bland name, John, apologies to all the Johns. We've got John's arm, John's leg, John's ears, John's head, John's body, if you like. Then who is John? Think about it. Who is John? John is that soul. He's that energy. He's that spirit. He's the true John. Is that connection to spirit. So when we pass, another way of explaining it, when we pass, not teaching you to suck eggs here, but you all have this understanding. When we pass, the body will just disintegrate. It will just be taken back to nature. It will be taken back to where it came from. It will be gone. That will happen to John. John's arms, John's legs, John's head, John's ears. That will happen to John. But the true John will carry on. He has always been. He is not new. He is an essence, he is a soul, he is a facet of truth. He will carry on. He is an energy, a conscious energy that still exists. He is now a part of what it is you try and connect to as a medium. He has always been. When the body was here, he has always been. He has been within that body, if you like. But now he's took that next step. So in order for us to connect with John, that energy that existed within John when he was in body, that energy that exists within you, is what we need to use to connect to John. So it's in you already. The true you, the John in you, if you like, is what we use and what we need to work with to connect with Spirit. It's there already within you. It is natural as taking breath. We just need to understand where it is, what it is, and how it works. There have been many labels given to things over the years, especially within, in mediumship. And it's important that we drop the labels and we go back to the understanding of natural self and who we are. Forget the material, physical side of things. It has no place in mediumship. There are no hospitals in spirit world. You can't put an energy into a bed. What would be the point of hospitals within the world of spirit when there is no physical? Think about it. It's common sense. It's logical. Grandfather will not be building a bungalow in the world of spirit because there is no physical. Don't get misled by that statement. We can create, and the beauty of us, of the energy of self, is it is more than capable of creation. So even as energy, we can create. We can create that vision of that bungalow, if we so wish, but it's very unlikely. We can create that pint down the pub. We can recreate that, so that will cheer some of you up. That feeling you get, I don't drink, by the way, but the feeling that you get of maybe the companionship of standing there with your best friend, having a drink, you can recreate that if you want, but you would probably be well beyond that need in that state. And that's another thing. Probably going on a bit of a tangent, but I tend to do that quite a lot. I do apologise. But as spirit, as true self, your needs are vastly different. You have no material need for a start. And then an awful lot of emotional need will just fall to the wayside. You will not have a need for that. One of the truest emotions ever that we experience here, and we only just scrape the surface of that, is love. Not only that, I mean, the depth of love that comes through for some mediums when we're doing readings sometimes does take your breath away because it is beyond our understanding of it. Yes, we scrape the surface of it. We feel it in our way, and it does hurt. It does feel good. And yeah, but we are so limited to how we feel it, if you like. We are in human form, and it's the same for colour. The vibration of colour is limited to what we sense. The vibration of sound is very limited to what we can sense. Whilst in spirit, those limitations will fall away, and the vibration of light, the vibration of sound will be so much greater. Our sense of it will be, it's beyond words, put it that way. And that's the same with love. And I'm sure there are many mediums, probably if they're listening to this, they'll probably shut off by now thinking, what's he talking about? But I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. I'm used to it. I can only put across my understanding and what I have been told. And believe you me, that's not from any book. There are some really good books that touch and scrape the surface of some of this understanding, but there's nothing better than to work with spirit. And you will, if you follow what I'm saying, you will experience that. But our limitations whilst here, while experiencing this single step in our existence, and a very small step, but while we are experiencing this, we are so limited. So what we do as human beings, not only to make ourselves look good, but make ourselves, I guess, some sort of ego boost, is we'll write these books about what it's like in spirit world. We'll write books on all sorts of things that we believe happen when we pass away. Yes, it will scrape the very surface of some of that, but believe you me, we have such limited understanding, and that will only come, when we take that next step. We will only learn that, and even then, on that next step, we are limited. Believe you me, we are limited. There'll be many a step that we will take, and our knowledge will obviously build as we take those steps. But every step has its limitations, believe me. So when Grandad passes over, although his understanding will be a lot different to ours, he will have a clearer understanding. He will experience things on a much higher vibration to ours. But there is still a limit to what that experience will be. And for those of us who are lucky to have spoken to higher vibrations, energies from the higher vibration, what they explain to us and what they can teach us and what they can tell us, again, is only limited to what we can understand. If you put an energy of the high vibration up onto a stage and ask that energy to explain to us the purpose of life itself, we'd probably get up and walk out within the first couple of minutes because it'd just go over our head. We wouldn't understand at all. There is limited to what we know and what our understanding is. What's important is that we work to the limits of our understanding, and we allow that understanding to be absorbed. We cannot live our lives through other people's perceptions of things, their understanding of things. When people write books, it's their understanding, their perception, their experiences. It does not mean it is truth. It is just the way they see it. Please don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that everything I say is 100%. I can only just relay my understanding of it. So even if it makes you think outside of the box a little, then that's fine. And if you don't agree with certain things that I say, that's fine. Absolutely fine, because that's what life is all about. It's about, I suppose in layman's terms, chewing it over in your own mind and taking from it what fits with you, what sits right with you. And that is what it's all about. It's how we learn. I've done that kind of thing, I guess, with spirit. There are things that I have learned, that I have been told, that I've experienced with them, that probably took me a few weeks to grasp. And sometimes there might be little things that don't quite sit right with me. And there could be a reason for that. And one of those reasons could be I've misinterpreted what they've said, or it's beyond my understanding and I can't absorb it. So instead of sitting there questioning it and worrying about it, it's best just to let it go. Because one day we will know. One thing I'll say about truth, and I've mentioned the word truth a few times throughout this video. Truth for me is constant. It is a constant truth. It cannot be altered. We cannot change it. And we are taught many truths, especially through religions and things. But any leader that changes an element of truth within that teaching kind of, for me, is saying it wasn't true in the first place. Because if you can change it for modern times, if you can change it, if it can be altered, then it wasn't truth in the first place. That's my understanding. And truth is very, very simple. Our purpose, the truth of our purpose, is very, very simple. That's one thing I did learn. Something that always stuck with me is when you communicate with spirit, when you are taught by spirit, the simplicity is unbelievable. It is so factual. It is so simple. It's the only way I can put it. The teachings of truth are so simple. But we are human, I guess. So we'll alter it, we'll change it, we'll question it, we'll doubt it. The very purpose behind our being is so, so simple. I'm not going to waffle on anymore. I think enough said for one video before I take it too far. I do apologise for waffling on, but learn to trust you. Like I said earlier, the truth came with you from day one and it sits within you. You are part of it. It runs through you. But the perception itself, the experiences that you've been through, the teachings that you've been through, even from parents, school, all those things that are programmed into us, have buried that truth. We don't learn truth in school. We don't learn truth through experience or perception. We learn about life, our experience here. We learn very little about truth. If we faced a lot of those experiences with truth, then we would gain a lot more from those experiences. Anyway, yeah, we're talking about mediumship, and there's me going on about life. I do apologise, but it's just getting the understanding of how important it is to learn about you, to sit in that space. Don't expect, just be and allow. If you sense or see or hear whilst you're sat in that space, that's fine. That's just part of what happens on that expansion of self. It's not why you sit. You sit for a different reason. You're not sitting there just to communicate with spirit. That communication will come. You will experience odd little things happening while you're sat in that space, and that's just part of what you're doing. It's not the reason behind it. Like I said earlier, please like, please subscribe. I wish you all the best on your journey. And if you want to learn more about the mediumship side and how to bring that self into that communication, to make things clearer, to become a better medium, to become that natural medium, if you like, then please pop over to Patreon and have a look on there. It means a lot to me if you like. It means a lot to me if you subscribe. It keeps me going, keep me doing what I'm doing. And it's great that you've lasted this 52 minutes, if you have. I appreciate it. So take care and bye for now.